Hello everybody and welcome to a Halo Wars flashback cast. That's right, I said flashback. This is a very old game. Can't remember when it was recorded, but I'm playing with looks like Pestilence, yes, and we are playing against the Blip Bounce and Geekster Loco. Now, the backstory behind this game, there is a backstory. We've played these guys, I believe, the game right before this one. Same map, same leaders. Only difference was I think we were on their side and they were on ours. And you'll see what we will do in our play and to show. But they're playing Arbiter Anders and we're playing Forge Prophet, I think. The reason I didn't have the game before this was because basically what happened was the Arbiter kind of just waltzed over to our bases, dropped a bunch of suicide grunts, wrecked the Prophet, then he came over right as I was building my vehicle depot and shut it down. And then Warthogs came, and well, when there's nothing to do, well, that happens, so we were a little salty after that match, and then we go into this match, and we get them again on the same map. Talk about irony. So, what you'll see is we do things really differently. As you probably saw there, I'm building a turret, which I would never really do. There's a little bit of Warthog ghost battles going on, which is hilarious, but I don't know who wins this. I think it's pretty much a stalemate. I'm very bad and constantly miss. I'm trying to micro, they're trying to micro, there's ramming all over the place, there's ghosts shooting everywhere. This is intense. I mean, some of the most intense things in Halo Wars is the ghost battles, scout battles. It looks like we were gonna win, well, it looks like a tie. Both ghosts are dead, my Warthog's pretty dead. He's still chasing me for some freaking reason, I don't know why. Looks like Pestilence built a turret too. Oh wait, he built 2 turrets! Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is in response to that rush. I decide to kite them all the way back to the turrets, and boom! Oh, boom! Warthog dies. And the ghost is there too, and he blows up. And the ghost is alive with a sliver of health. I'm telling you, that's probably the most action I've ever seen in an early game as well, ever. But I don't think they decide to rush here because obviously they must have seen the turrets, but I believe the Arbiter still decides to walk over here and do something. So other than the early start, it's pretty much what you'd see from a typical game. Anyway, I can't remember what we do. I think this was a good game if I remember correctly. I did make one glaring mistake and I'll point that out near the end of the cat, or when it actually pops up. Other than that, I believe we steamrolled these guys. Now we're going to go, I think, scout them because we're worried, are they going to rush again? What are we going to do? Because we should have figured the Arbiter's coming around now if they were planning to cheese us like they did last time. And sure enough, there's the Arbiter, just kind of wandering around on their side. So now I'm going to check and see if they built grunts or anything, or if they're going Warthogs, because that's what we really don't need right now. He's got Citadel up summits, so I flare that out and we can start reacting to that. Is it gonna be double summits? We're not gonna find out because I'm going over here. So I see their second reactor going up. No building goes up there. They didn't expand, so here I'm wondering, are they going Hornets or are they going Vehicle Depot? I realize I gotta get my Vehicle Depot going up now. There's the second summit. There's, what is that? I think it's a Vehicle Depot, and I'm flaring it out. It looks like a Vehicle Depot. If it was an air pad, you'd probably see the top of it as it was building. So we know what they're doing, and well, they probably know. I don't know. Do they know what we're doing? It's pretty standard, I'd say. But the big idea of this game is I'm going to constantly check if they expanded, because if the Anders expands, it's going to be hell to pay. I'm going to expand and take a really big risk here, because if the Arbiter just walks up, he can just slash that base down, grunt it, and I'm going to start getting my tanks out. That's the beauty of Forge. He gets his tanks out pretty quickly, while also expanding. So, I don't know what Pestilence is doing. I can't really remember. I think he's just building up his air, because we like to go either Banshees tanks or Vampire tanks. I think he's building Vampires, because we saw that summit. I don't know if I'll give him clicks to help him out there, but I think he's doing generally okay. So, I don't know what I was doing there. I think I was trying to get a reactor. I'm still checking for if that expand is going there so we can knock it down ASAP, because I want to get ahead. So here I'm realizing, oh god, I could probably get this reactor up and still get a economy up, because I want to hit canister shell. That's basically my plan. I'm kind of just fiddling around here. Oh, so while this is kind of slow, and I'm just going to go keep checking this expansion over here if it ever pops up. I'm sorry for not uploading a video in the last couple days, probably a week. I actually got a job, and I had to go to orientation, shop for clothes for work, and find out when I'm starting. And I start pretty much on Sunday, but it shouldn't impact my video plans because it is like a 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. job, so I should still have plenty of time to knock out these casts. There's the Arbiter again. I don't know what he's doing. He's just running around in circles, I guess. I think they were really confused this game because they probably wanted to cheese us, but they saw our turrets and decides, well, we're not going to do that. So I'm going to probably say this is probably slow till later, so keep that in mind, guys. The only reason I'm kind of posting this is because we got our revenge on them, and after we were a little salty, because you always got to be salty after a cheese, especially if it's a Suicide Grunt Warthog cheese. Anyway, yep, that's a vehicle depot, so we know at this point he's going tanks. Here comes the Arbiter, completely walking past my expansion, and here I'm freaking out like, oh god, he sees my expansion. I don't know if I have canister shell yet. No, I'm still researching it, so now I'm also freaking out there too. He's gonna slash away, not knowing what I'm doing. Little do they know, I actually have canister shell. The Prophet's gonna try and see what he can do to drive that Arbiter off. And now I'm kind of thinking here too, did he expand since he saw my expansion? I'm gonna try upgrading it, because if you don't know, when you upgrade a UNSC base, it gets a small amount of health plus, oh my god. That is a lot of Banshees, but Pestilence has some Vampires. Not a lot, and they have a ton of Banshees. So now I'm freaking out like, there's the Grunts too. The Prophet's dead, and Pestilence is going to have his work cut out for him if he's going to defend all of this while I get my tank numbers up. But it looks like they're up. No, the Arbiter's raging the Vampires. There goes my entire argument, but I'm going to D-bomb that for some reason. Probably so the Vampires can deal with those Banshees. I think I'm going to lose that expansion, but that's going to be okay, because I'm going to have 2 tanks now. They're canister shell, and they're going to probably deal with that Arbiter pretty fine. That's 4 Vampires now. Yeah, I'm going to end up losing that base. Pestilence tries his best here, but I'm good. Yep, nope, and the Arbiter is going to die, eating canister shells to his face. Yeah, there I was like, it's gonna live! And then their tanks drive up, but they're not canister shells, so I have the upgrade advantage. And I should be pumping more tanks out here, so this is where I thought, oh crap, we may lose this. But all the Banshees are dying, I have canister shell, he does not, so we're going to try and knock out all these Banshees, which he now decides to try and stop us, but we've got so many turrets he can't do anything. And now we're going to turn around and probably take the fight to them, to their tanks, because they're going to sit here. I have canister shell. We have the same amount of tanks. That tank pretty much eats a bunch of cannies to the face. And that's 2 dead zone tanks. The Vampires are helping out. The Ghost sacrifices himself to protect my tanks. And it looks like we're going to win this little engagement over here. Oh, there's another tank over there. And I'm just kind of microing around, hoping that my tanks don't die. They look really weak, and is it gonna die? I think one of them died. Yep, one dies, but I saved the other one. And it's just a tank battle going on over here. I'm microing around like mad. He's trying to block me. I'm firing canister shells, and with the Vampires here, we're pretty much gonna clean the rest of this up. And I'm gonna get those tanks away, or the one tank away, and heal it up. And it looks like we are going to stop them here. So now nothing happens, I think, for quite a while. If you noticed, I have that Warthog just kind of sitting there because I was a little annoyed going back and forth, back and forth. So that will just let me know whenever they take that expansion. The surprising factor, I believe, in this game is the Anders really did not take a base until right near the end, if I'm mistaken correctly, and that was kind of a little odd to me, because he knows I have canister shell, and my assumption would be he would try to he tried to take that base so he could get more reactors, and with upgrades being cheaper, he can easily get power turret before I could. I decide, because I'm a little skeptical of taking that base, I'm just going to upgrade one reactor, go back up to 3, because I want to get power turret eventually. I think I'm a little indecisive here because I want to go make an attack, but I don't want to lose all my tanks and end up throwing the game, especially since I'm ahead, but that Arbiter could be out. It looks like I'm going to say screw it anyway, and I'm going to go in. And I think this is well, I don't know. I'm just babbling here. This cast is probably going down the drain, but I think the call here was to go and make an attack. It looks like the Vamps are going to fly over to the right above the Covenant base, so when my tanks roll in, they can start shooting at the Vampires. And if you don't know, we actually communicate via voice, so that's why we're not really flaring our intentions, but you can see I'm moving my tanks up there. We're going to make a huge attack on the Covenant base and stop his Banshees, because if we can stop that, I'm ahead of the Anders, which is really good, and they have a shield and a bunch of Suicide Grunts, so I'm like, what the heck's going on here? The Vampires come in and start just wrecking the Banshees. I'm going and canister glitching, I think, all the Suicide Grunts, and that... well, their defense was pretty poor there, in my opinion, but they're still popping out Banshees. I don't know where the Arbiter is. He's somewhere. But I think this is where I'd say the mistake was made. Here comes all of their tanks. They now have canister shell. There's a whole bunch of Banshees that spawned out of nowhere, and I'm kind of trapped in a really awkward spot, and I believe the Arbiter shows up a couple seconds later, any moment now, but I pretty much know my tanks are going to die here. I'm just going to do what I can. And where is the Arbiter? Up there's the Arbiter, so my tanks are pretty much all dead. And here's where I thought, oh crap, I threw the game right here, because I have like no tanks left. And they can easily produce Banshees. They have an Arbiter that's just going to town on my tanks, and I thought we were going to lose right around here. Because I want tank. I think the one saving grace is I'm going to get power turret really soon. And that's actually a really sketchy part, because they have more tanks than me, and if they came over while I'm researching power turret, it's pretty much game. But I think that's my intentions right now, is to try and get power turret ASAP, which is really risky. You really got to know when to try and when to not, because I have like, what, 2 tanks, maybe a third in production, and that's all I'm going to have for the next couple minutes as I get my reactor up and get my power turret research. So it's really up to Pestilence too to kind of keep us safe. That's kind of the Covenant's job sometimes, is to keep you guys safe. So this is where I'm making the really risky move. What else can I talk about while we're just kind of prepping up for the next engagements as I wait for my reactor? So I've been going through, I guess, a bunch of my videos, and sadly enough, some of my videos had the endings cut off near the end, so I had to unfortunately delete them, which is kind of sad, because I remember one of them, I was doing a mass marine spam just for fun in a 3v3, and I would really have loved to put that on there because it was funny, but I had to delete it because I don't know how much longer the video kept going. Pestilence is giving me supplies here because I said, I'm getting my 4th tech up, I want to hit power turret ASAP, so he just gave me a click. So I'm going to get power turret here, but as I was saying, I lost quite a bit of videos. Most of them were kind of probably standard anyway, so I don't mind so much. But I still have plenty of videos. I don't know what the quality is. Here I'm making another risky mistake, and I'm canceling my reactor there. So basically, if they came right around now and shot at that vehicle depot that's making power turret, and they actually successfully take it out, I'm in big trouble. So I'm praying they don't fly a bunch of Banshees over, but I'm not sure if the Arbiter decided to switch to Vampires or not. That would be the logical sense, because, well, vampires and vampires. That Arbiter's a general. I didn't realize that. Pestilence brought a couple engineers. I think he was trying to heal some things, and he decided to keep that vehicle depot up, because that vehicle depot is super important right now. If that goes down, we basically lose the game. And if you're really good at this game, that's what you gotta know how to do. You gotta get some Banshees, you gotta find that vehicle depot, you gotta see if the arm's moving slow, take it out ASAP, delay their upgrade, shoot their supply pads. This isn't really the most, upper level play, but I have power turret now, which is perfect. I still think it's good though, because it was really intense right around here, down to the wire, where it could be anyone's game. Now I decided, well, I thought I am going to start trying to double pump some power turret tanks here. And at this point, I think I'm wondering, does he have power turret too? Because he's the Anders, and if he got that second base, which my Warthog died, I don't know when, but if he got that second base, got those reactors, he actually has a cheaper, faster upgrade path to power turret tanks. So that would pretty much even out the playing field. So I'm kind of freaking out here. I don't have a lot of tanks, so I can't make a scouting / attack, so I'm really down to what should I do here? Should I go with my 3 tanks and not try to lose them, or should I hold back, build up my tank numbers, but give them a time to research their upgrades and get whatever else they need? I'm not sure what they're really going at this point. I'm assuming power turret, but I could be wrong. Pestilence is just turreting up because he needs that temple up, he needs those warehouses up. He doesn't have a shield, so he's running a risk there, running more economy for protection. And it's just pretty much a lull now where I'm making his... Oh, I think right around here I wanted to scout that base way up there, but Pestilence is like, hey, I got a flying prophet, I can go do it, no problem. So I kept my tanks back on guard duty. Anyway, just gearing up for an attack here. I don't think much really happens. I'm pretty sure I run into a bunch of tanks pretty soon, right around in the middle, and that's where I think a giant battle ensues. Oh, hey Blue Chaos, you're in the party. Too bad you're not in our game, scrub. It was pretty amazing. I'm just giving him a hard time. So now I think I'm getting a little antsy. I'm like, okay, I have plenty of tanks. I should be able to easily take him. I don't know what Pestilence is doing. And there's the tanks without power turrets, so I'm thinking, yep, we just won here. And now he finally takes that expansion, and it just gets up 2. He couldn't cancel it. This is pretty much where the game goes sour for them, because I've pretty much wrecked his tanks because they're power turret compared to Canny. His expansion there just basically died. Power turrets actually can take on Banshees, and I think the vampires are going to be flying anyway, so this is pretty much game right here. The last of the tanks will fall. Here comes Wolverines, which I wasn't expecting at all, but then again, he did have vampires, so I think they just wanted to keep the Banshees on tilt. And there's Cobras too! Jeez, this guy built everything, didn't he? Instead of going for power turret, he goes for Cobras, Wolverines, tanks. I think that's what really cost them the game. If they went power turret, maybe have a few Wolverines. There's Hunters too, and Jesus moly. Yeah, they kind of just dabbled in their upgrades, and that's kind of probably what killed them. This is pretty much the end of the game, because the vampires can just shoot at the Cobras and the Hunters for days, while I just heal back. They've got nothing. We've got a giant army, and I think any moment now they're going to end up quitting, or we're just gonna kill them, I can't remember. But this is basically the game, so we get our revenge. It tastes so sweet, especially when we lost to Cheese. He got cryoed there, but nothing really ended up dying. There goes the Arbiter, he decides to resign, and there goes the Anders, so GG! I carry in first, Pestilence is close behind with second, and I hope you enjoyed this video. More will be on the way, so until next time, see you later.